on a ride that will bring out a genuine emotion and perhaps even tug at the heartstrings. So if true, his Star Wars film might very well avoid one of the biggest criticisms of Thor Ragnarok, which is the tendency to undercut genuine emotional moments for the sake of a gag or a joke. So in Thor Ragnarok, it's easily the most comedic of the MCU's films, almost completely eschewing the grandiose sense of scale and drama that was found in the first two Thor movies. Obviously, in our opinion, the third one was probably the best one. Well, yeah, better than the second, at least.
You couldn't be worse than the first two, I think.
So, yeah. So while this approach has helped to make the film a financial successful crowd pleaser, many viewers who follow his work notice that the director's skillful blend of comedy and drama was largely missing. So the MCU's entry might have had a visual flourish and a great sense of humor, but his true strength as a filmmaker weren't employed to their full potential. However, if he was given the freedom to indulge in the emotional drama missing from Ragnarok in the new Star Wars film, it's entirely possible that the acclaimed filmmaker could craft an emotional, resonant, deeply moving, and uniquely special entry into the long-running franchise.
Well, and I think no matter what he does, he's going to do a fantastic job.
I think so.
I am not aware of any projects that he's been involved with that haven't been successful.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got one big thing going for him. He's not Rian Johnson.
I was waiting. You haven't mentioned your bestie in a long time.
That is a win automatically, not being Rian Johnson doing a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the other thing too, and what you could see very much from any interview that you did when he showed up on the special editions of the Mandalorian thing, is he is a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And that's where, you see Jon Favreau and you see when they just talk about it, the love and admiration that they have.
Right in with Filoni and Favreau.
Absolutely.
You expected them during that special to just break out their figures and start playing with them at the table.
Exactly. That's exactly what you like. Oh, you have this one? Well, this is what I have. Like, that's exactly. And that's what Star Wars needs.
Yeah.
That's
exactly. You need that passion. You need the people that want to tell the good Star Wars stories and be true to the universe, not the people that are just trying to make a buck.
Right. Like Rian Johnson.
Well, yeah. Anyway, Rian Johnson thought he was too clever for the rest of the world.
Well, that's true too. So yeah.
But that was all we had for our Tales from the Edge of the Galaxy. We'll be right back with our entertainment news of the week.
Insights into Teens, a podcast series exploring the issues and challenges of today's youth. Talking to real teens about real teen problems. Explore issues from braces to puberty, social anxiety to financial responsibility. Each week, we talk about the topics concerning today's youth. We look at how the issues affect teens, how to cope with these issues, and how parents, friends, and loved ones can help teens handle these challenges. Check out our video episodes on youtube.com/insightsintothings. Catch our audio versions on podcast.insightsintoteens.com or on the web at insightsintothings.com.
Go for entertainment news.
So will Disney accidentally solve Hollywood's biggest problem? Probably not. So from thefool.com, this article popped up and it was talking about how it's probably not the way that Walt Disney scripted it out, but when it comes to solving Hollywood's film distribution problem, it seems as if all roads lead to the House of Mouse. So Free Guy was the latest Disney movie to hit theaters this past weekend, and it's approaching distribution in an entirely different way from the entertainment giant's recent releases. Disney is also being sued by Scarlett Johansson, the star of this year's highest-grossing multiplex release. So Disney didn't plan Free Guy's distribution strategy. It also obviously didn't want to trade legal fisticuffs with the Black Widow star, especially since another movie deal has come undone as a result of this standoff. However, as unintentional as these events may be, it could be the reason there's a projector light at the end of the movie production tunnel. So since August of last year, Disney's approach to its planned theatrical releases has taken one of two paths. Its biggest potential blockbuster hits at the time, they were available through Disney Plus's Direct Access for anyone willing to shell out $29.99 for unlimited streaming access to the new release. So Black Widow, Cruella, and Jungle Cruise have gone this route, and it's not a surprise that they're the studio's 3 top-grossing films of 2021 in the U.S. market. These films will also be available to all Disney Plus subscribers 3 months after their theatrical premiere. The balance of the Disney slate has either been pushed out to a later release date or just dropped into Disney Plus for the platform's existing subscribers. And that's what we saw with Soul and most recently Luca. So Free Guy is breaking this mold in that it's Disney's first Disney-owned release and more than a year to play exclusively in the theater. It's also a tighter than usual window of movie house exclusivity, as Free Guy can be streamed legally 45 days later, and this wasn't by Disney's design. Free Guy, like next month's Shang-Chi and The Legends of the Ten Rings, all properties that the media company inherited with its acquisition of 20th Century Fox, they are all tied to earlier release deals. So making matters seemingly worse, then when that 45 window of theatrical exclusivity is over, they're actually going to be on Disney Plus's rival, HBO Max. So not even on Disney Plus. So interesting. So this isn't a bad thing. Disney is now learning a lot about many different flavors of distribution. It'll be better suited to work out the right levers if audiences come back to the movie houses or if they stay away, either as a result of COVID-19 or the evolution of the at-home based streaming. So Johansson's lawsuit over her Black Widow contract may be harder to sugarcoat, but this was a battle that, was going to happen between studios and talent anyway. She negotiated her contract to take a cut of the box office receipts before the pandemic and before premium digital delivery had changed everything. So this is a fight that kind of had to happen, especially since the future may not be as rosy as it had been in the past. So both parties are fighting for bigger slices of a thinning pie. And just as we're seeing salary caps for some sports leagues start to contract as viewership diminishes, the industry is going to have a painful reality adjustment as well. So as everything kind of changes, the whole negotiation of the win-win contract is going to come into play. Disney didn't pick its cards. It was dealt the free guy card. It didn't want to lock horns with Johansson in the legal battle that it now finds itself. And now, because of that, now it's possibly going to lose the Tower of Terror themed movie as well, because her production company was going to be doing that. So everything, is kind of up in the air. And as The Mandalorian says on Disney Plus, this is the way.
Yeah. And this is the kind of that influx period that we had talked about, where this was going to happen, I think, regardless, because of this push to digital streaming. But the pandemic kind of forced it a lot sooner than anybody was ready for it.
Absolutely.
So, this is the way things are moving forward now. We're gonna adjust to it, just same way we did, when HBO first came out and you started getting movies over your cable box and stuff. The entire movie industry was up in arms there.
Right.
They struggled
and it survived.
Yeah, they struggled to deal with it and compensate for it. And then you came up with new rules around it. I'm not worried about Disney. I'm not worried about the studios. All the people that were making money before are going to continue making money. Mm-hmm. How we digest this stuff is really what's up in the air.
And that's the thing is, I think now being able to choose how you want to view it is a nice option to have. If you want to pay $30 or $15 or whatever the premium amount is, because HBO Max, it was $15 for the month, and it was like one movie per month was coming out. So, so you could kind of subscribe, unsubscribe, so basically you were paying $15 for that one movie, or Disney doing $30. You figure if a family of 4 was going to the movie theater, you'd be spending a whole lot more, plus the food, the drink, and whatever.
Well, but that's the problem. See, and then your theater industry says, well, we're missing out on all this money now.
Right. But the other thing, too, is there are people that they prefer to go to a theater to watch the movie because they want the whole immersion. They want nothing from the outside world. They don't want the neighbor's dog barking or the lawnmower going off or the phone ringing or this and that. They want to be immersed. And some people enjoy going to the movie theater with, total strangers that are in it so that they can have that moment together.
Yeah, there's definitely a demand for both mediums. The problem that you have is the rules do not apply right now to the streaming. So this is why you have situations like Scarlett Johansson, because her compensation package was tied to a theater exclusivity.
Right.
And you're going to have to change your compensation packages now moving forward. Are you going to give your talent a larger cut of your streaming service now?
Right.
I don't know if Disney Plus has been around long enough for them to determine if that's economically feasible. And if it is, what percentage can they sacrifice to keep the talent happy?
Right.
It's just too new for them to do the economics on it.
Right. And that's the thing is, it was going to happen to somebody.
Right.
Somebody was going to get screwed out of the deal no matter
that's the thing. Had this not been forced down people's throats because of the pandemic, you could have brought your streaming service out.
Yeah.
Not affected your theatrical releases, seen what your income was from that, and then started to decide, okay, we're going to bring theatrical releases to streaming now, and here's our compensation package.
Right.
And the pandemic, one more thing the pandemic screwed up.
Right. Well, and the other thing, too, is Free Guy, that's been in the can for years.
Yep.
That was supposed to come out years ago. And because of the acquisition and because of the pandemic, it got shelved because I remember seeing attractions
Black
for this.
Widow to a certain extent as well, too.
Right. And that was the thing because Disney had so many things in the can that they finally got to the point, okay, well, let's put this out.
Well, because every movie that they had, they're in the hole for at this point.
Right. So at least if they released it on streaming, they were at least making something.
Somebody probably should have looked at the contract with Johansson before they released it on streaming, though.
Absolutely.
So tell us, answer that eternal question of, if you build it, will they come?
So we don't normally talk sports. That's usually not something that we've ever really brought up before in any of our topics. But this was just such a cool story that came out. So in Iowa, a bus carrying the New York Yankees through the cornfields, blanketing the serene, rolling farmland of northwest Iowa. One of the players noticed a difference from the usual arrival in the next city. The ride to Field of Dreams site to play the Chicago White Sox on Thursday night had everyone's attention, like a bunch of kids who couldn't believe what they were getting to do. They said it was the first time people had their headphones out and they were just glued to the windows checking out the scenery. We had a lot of guys from different countries who really haven't seen the country like this, or guys from big cities who had never seen an open field or stuff like this. It was pretty cool driving in and seeing everybody in town kind of standing on the side of the roads with signs cheering us on. So this made-for-TV event was delayed a year due to COVID and had been billed as the first Major League Baseball game in the state that's usually focused on college or community sports. And it was spotlighting by presidential campaigns and fueled by the hog and grain industry. So Aaron Judd, I believe, was yes. Sorry. Yeah, Aaron Judge. I knew that. Had said that it provided for a pair of picture-perfect images, launching 2 long drives into the corn stalks. Tim Anderson hit his 8th homer of the game and a 2-run liner in the 9th inning that lifted the White Sox over the Yankees in a 9-8 thriller. Anderson delivered a Hollywood ending too, circling the bases as fireworks exploded. So what if it was more of the natural than Field of Dreams? The commissioner of baseball actually had said that this would not be just a one-time visit. He confirmed that a Field of Dreams game would be returning in August of 2022, with the teams to be determined. So the made-from-scratch stadium was built to hold 8,000 fans to watch the White Sox and the Yankees play in one of the most anticipated mid-August games in history. And it was actually placed not too far from where the actual diamond was for the 1989 film starring Kevin Costner. And what was really cool about it was Kevin Costner actually came back for this, kind of stealing the scene of the show with this slow, ponderous stroll out into the field, just like his character from the movie did. And he basically, stopped and, as he was talking, the real players from the White Sox and the Yankees emerged from the cornfield as well. So it was a very Hollywood movie moment that, kind of got you all teary-eyed, just how cool, it was. White Sox slugger Jose Abreu had delivered an instant highlight for the first inning, hitting a line drive that zipped over the fence in left field and vanished into the corn. Judges connected for a 3-run smash in the 3rd and 2-run drive in the 9th. Neither was a can of corn because they both flew far away. So there were rows upon rows of corn between the 2 fields. In fact, in the same spot where Shoeless Joe Jackson and his pals appeared and disappeared during the film, the players were talking about, as a kid, you always wanted to go and visit, and here they actually had the opportunity to do it. The other cool thing is that there's actually a corn maze that's kind of built throughout it, and they actually told the players to be careful not to walk through the maze because they didn't want them to get lost before going and playing the game. They said it was just such a cool experience. Having all of the fans there was just so cool, and just kind of emerging, was just very iconic. So even if you weren't a fan of baseball, just being able to watch this was just a very cool event.
Yeah, it was neat. And when they did it, it was cinematic the way they did it.
Oh, absolutely.
They had the soundtrack of the movie playing over top of it. They had set up cameras that were panoramic line cameras. So they were spinning around the entire field. It was literally set up to be a movie production.
Oh, absolutely.
The way they did it. And it just, they captured it in the way that they did. There's a couple of areas where it kind of falls flat, like you got a piece of fencing out there so the people with the cameras are hidden.
Right.
But they came out in the vintage uniforms.
Right, and that added to it. as well.
And it was just a gorgeous, gorgeous venue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, it's a stone's throw from the actual field for the movie.
When they do, kind of an aerial shot, you can actually see the original field, which is still there. And that's what's kind of cool, too, is that field is still there as well. So
yeah, and what was really interesting was they built this field. Major League Baseball built a field for an audience of about 8,000 people,
right?
Because they put the stands in.
Mm-hmm.
The residents of Dyersville are a total of about 4,000, and they all had first choice for the open public seating that was available.
Nice.
So they gave and you had people that were from the original movie. They're like a costuming group.
Okay.
And they come out in the vintage uniforms. So you had those folks that were there to lend,
the ghost players.
The ghost players,
okay.
Yes.
Right. So they were there too.
Yeah. So it was really, really well done. And they've already announced they're going to be probably doing this every year
Right. They said August of 2022, but different teams would be playing. I think that would be cool. And again, if it's teams that have been around to do their vintage costumes,
exactly.
I think that would be the thing is if you keep it the vintage game, that would be kind of cool.
That was neat. And, well, and they did say that the seats that were up for sale were going for around $7,000 a ticket to be there. So, but not an empty seat in the house, though.
Yeah.
So, anyway, very cool story.
Yeah, very cool.
And that was all we had for entertainment news, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We'll be back in a minute with our insightful picks of the week. Go for your insightful pick.
So my insightful pick happens to be a show that was on Apple TV, not one that I would.
We watch something on Apple TV?
You normally do.
That's amazing.
But it was a show that I had heard about, and then once I heard that it was going to be on Apple TV, I was like, oh, we got to renew our subscription so I can watch this. And it is called Schmigadoon. So 2 New York doctors, Melissa and Josh, go on a backpacking trip in an attempt to patch up their failing relationship, only to find themselves still arguing. They get lost and soon discover a magical town called Schmigadoon, which is perpetually trapped in a Golden Age-style musical, and soon learn that they cannot leave town until they find true love, which they thought they already had. So it's a very interesting take on the 1940s movie musical, Broadway musical style. But yet the two of them are, in current day fashion, where everybody that they encounter in the town, they don't know what a cell phone is. They don't know what a movie is. So they keep trying to, kind of inform the townspeople of things that they're used to. Like they're both doctors. Well,